Hey everybody, let's get started with today's leadership lesson. And one of the biggest mistakes leaders make many times is hiring individuals that are exactly like themselves. Why do we do it? Because it feels right. You're getting along with individuals because you think the same way. You're also solving problems the same way. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. So one of the simplest ways to understand this is DISC. Now, has anybody here heard about DISC before? Because DISC isn't necessarily about putting people in boxes, but it's really about understanding every personality brings something different to the table. So let's get started. We're going to get started with the Ds. So I'm a D, maybe a DC combo, but let's start with the D part. Now here's how my brain works. A lack of decision making, that makes me crazy. If we've got enough information to make a good decision, let's make it. Are we doing it or aren't we doing it? I do not need 6 more meetings. I don't need a committee to discuss it. Let's check the boxes and let's move on. And yes, sometimes the Ds come across a little bit like a jerk. Maybe sometimes we are, but somebody has to make these decisions. Now let's get to the Is. All right, so the I personalities, I lovingly, for all the Is out there, I call them the shiny object syndrome people. Every new AI tool that they see, every marketing trend, every conference looks like ones we have to go to. That new app that popped up on their feed, why don't we have it yet? There's no consideration at that time for what's the ROI? What's the budget going to be? What's the implementation plan? Does it actually make sense? Now that C part in me, which we're going to get to in a minute, that drives me nuts. But here's the thing. Who brings the new ideas? Innovation almost always starts with somebody asking, what if? Now let's get to the S's. So the S personality, these people, they're really the heartbeat of the company. These are your customer service individuals. When a customer calls and they say something like, hey, I can't find an email, the D in me, probably in the back of my mind, I'm saying, hey, I already sent it. Why don't you check your email? Now the S is going to say, no problem. Let me send that again for you. They're patient, they care, they build relationships. They keep customers for your products. You need them. Someone made them feel valuable, and those are typically your S's. Now, finally, let's get to that C part we were talking about. So, the C, these are my people too. They're analytical. I love to look at the data to make an informed decision. I'm gathering facts, comparing all the different vendors, looking at the numbers, trying to figure out what are the risks. So the D might say, hey, I think this is a good idea. The C, maybe it's a good idea, but why don't we just make a little bit more sure? Now here's the funny part. A C probably isn't going to ever make the final decision because they're thinking, what if I'm wrong? And that's the last thing a C ever wants to do. And that's when the D comes back in, that decision maker. The C is going to give us confidence to make those decisions. So the lesson, step back, take a look at all the different DISC profiles. This is why leaders don't hire just themselves. If you hire all Ds, everybody's making decisions, nobody's checking the details. If you hire all the Is, well, you're going to have a lot of ideas with no facts behind them and nobody pulling the trigger. If you're hiring all the S's, man, the customers are going to be thrilled, but there's not going to be a heck of a lot of new stuff to talk about. And if you hire all the C's, man, you're going to have a lot of conference rooms being filled up because there's going to be a lot of decisions that are going to be discussed. So all the best companies have all four. Not because everybody agrees, because everybody sees the problem differently. So here's my challenge. The next person on your team that drives you absolutely crazy, before you decide that they're the problem, just ask yourself, maybe they're just looking at something a little bit differently than you, and they're filling in one of your blind spots. Because the leaders who think they have all the answers usually builds the weakest team. The leader who surrounds themselves with different types of strengths, they are going to build the strongest team. So when it comes to building your team, remember, the DISC profile is a valuable tool to help you make those decisions.